Hello everyone. So we have completed two lessons of C2. One is halogen derivatives and second one is alcohols, phenols and ethers. Today we will start C1, chemistry 1. So first lesson is solid state and second lesson is solution. I will start with second lesson, that is solution. What is mean by solution? You all know this term solution. So in the beginning, just introductory part of this lesson. Solution means what? It's a mixture of two or more substances, right? So here one substance is known as solvent. So substance which is taken in excess is called as solvent, and small amount of another substance added in it is called as solute, and the resultant mixture is called as solution. So solute, when mixed with solvent, we get solution. There are different types of solution. Okay, so one is homogeneous solution, other is heterogeneous solution. Means two and more phases are mixed together uniformly, then we call it as homogeneous solution. And heterogeneous solution means what? Two different phases are not mixed uniformly, so we call that type of solution as heterogeneous solution. So one type of solution depending upon uniformity of solute and solvent. Two types, homogeneous and heterogeneous. Homogeneous means uniform mixture of two or more substances. They behave like one substance, so that is homogeneous. And heterogeneous means two different phases are found in that solution, that is heterogeneous. Okay, another type of classification of solution. So solution types I am telling you here. Solution types. First type I told you, that is homogeneous. Homogeneous and heterogeneous. Homogeneous and heterogeneous solution. Uniform mixture of two or more substances. No uniform mixture of two or more substances. Second type of classification is depending upon particle size. This is depending upon uniformity. Okay, whether solution is uniform or not, found in a single phase or not. Accordingly, homogeneous and heterogeneous. Second one, depending upon particle size. Here we call true solution. True solution. One more is there, we call it as colloidal solution. We studied this last year. Different colloids, isn't it? Surface chemistry. Sol, gel, emulsion. These are different colloidal solution. And one more, but it was not given in our syllabus, that is suspension. Depending upon particle size. Depending upon particle size. Here particle size of solute is between 0.1 to 1 nanometer. Here 1 to 1000 nanometer, and here greater than 1000 nanometer. Means here particle size of solute or size of solute is very large. Here solute size is very small size. In this lesson, we are going to discuss true solution. Last year we discussed colloidal solution and its properties like Brownian movement, Tyndall effect, then electrophoresis, electroosmosis. All these properties we studied regarding colloidal solution. This year we have to study different solutions, true solutions. So classification of these true solutions. What are different types of true solutions? One more type of solution is given, and that is saturation. How much is the amount of the substance present in it? Accordingly it is classified as saturated, unsaturated and supersaturated. So one by one we will discuss. First of all, is this clear? What is mean by solution? So solution is mixture of two or more substances. Homogeneous solution means uniform mixture of two or more substances. So one example of homogeneous solution is true solution. True solution means what? Particle size is very small. Small means how much is the particle size of that solute? It lies in the range of 0.1 to 1 nanometer. So there are total 9 types of true solution. For MCQs they ask us, example is given and we have to identify which is the solution, which type of solution is this. Now one more thing, if it is true solution, we call it as the substance added in the small amount is called as solute, and if substance which is in excess, we call it as solvent. If it is colloidal solution, then we used to call that solute as dispersed phase, and the solvent we used to call that term as dispersion medium. Okay, in case of colloidal solution, the substance added is called as dispersed phase, and the substance in which it is added, it is called as dispersion medium. Here we are discussing true solution. So substance taken in the small amount is solute, substance taken in excess is solvent. So depending upon physical state of this solvent and solute, there are 9 types of solution. Depending upon physical state of this solute and solvent, there are 9 types of solution. What are these different 9 types of solution? See, so suppose we have taken here solute, here we have taken solvent. What are 9 different possibilities? Solid is added in liquid, solvent used is liquid, then solid is added in solid, and then solid is added in gas. So 1, 2, 3. Next class, what is it? Now liquid is taken as solute and it is added in another liquid solvent. So liquid in liquid, liquid in solid, and liquid in gas. Okay, these are 3 more different types of true solutions. Next one, gas is acting as solute now. Gas is added in liquid, gas is added in liquid, gas is added in solid, and gas is added in gas. So gas in liquid, gas in solid, gas in gas. Liquid in liquid, liquid in solid, liquid in gas. Okay, and one more, that is solid in liquid, solid in solid, and solid in gas. These are 9 different types of solution. Okay, what are the examples of each class? See, solid in solid, solid in liquid. Example, solid in liquid, solid added in liquid. Say, sugar dissolved in water. So example of this class is sugar in water or salt in water. Sugar added in water, solid mixed in liquid, it forms a homogeneous mixture. Second one is solid is dissolved in solid, solid is mixed in solid, so it is different alloys. Alloys means what? Combination of 2 or more metals which forms homogeneous mixture. So addition of one solid into another solid to form a homogeneous mixture, that is called as alloy. Solid added in gas, solid in gas, say iodine crystals. Iodine we know, it sublimes. If you have seen iodine crystals in your laboratory, see these crystals are not converted into liquid state. As soon as they get heat, directly they are converted into vapor state. So iodine sublimes. So iodine in air, iodine vapors, violet color fumes we can see. Iodine in air is example of solid in gas type of solution. Liquid in liquid, ethanol is liquid, alcohol dissolves in water due to hydrogen bonding. So ethanol in water is one type of example of this. Liquid in solid is amalgam. Okay, amalgam means what? Amalgam means what? Mercury coating. Suppose sodium amalgam means sodium metal is coated with liquid mercury. Okay, liquid mercury. So liquid mercury is taken in small amount, used for just coating that metal, and metal is in excess. So amalgam formation is example of liquid in solid. Liquid in gas, liquid is chloroform. Chloroform is mixed in N2 gas. That is one example of this type of system. Then gas in liquid, gas present in liquid. What is the example? CO2, your cold drinks. CO2 dissolved in water. It is nothing but carbonated drink. So CO2 dissolved in water. Gas in solid. H2 gas adsorbed on nickel or platinum or palladium. So that is one homogeneous mixture. And gas in gas, best example is air. Air is a mixture, homogeneous mixture of different gases. Is this clear? First type, that is classification of solution depending upon solute and solvent, and examples of each class. Solid in liquid, sugar and water. Solid in solid, alloys. Solid in gas, I2 in air. Liquid in liquid, ethanol in water. Liquid in solid, amalgam. Liquid in gas, CHCl3 plus N2. Gas in liquid, CO2 and water. Gas in solid, hydrogen gas adsorbed on platinum. And gas in gas, air is the mixture of this type of solution. Okay, take a screenshot and you have to write this in your notebook. Okay, different types of solutions. Now next type. Okay, see, next type of solution is depending upon capacity of that solvent to add solute in it. Okay, so there are three different types of solution depending upon, what did I say? Depending upon capacity of that solvent to dissolve solution, to dissolve solvent, to dissolve solute in it. There are three different types of solutions. Okay, one experiment we will do. Okay, see, what is that experiment? Suppose here we have one glass of water. Okay, we have taken one glass of water. Add 1 spoon sugar in it. Okay, sugar get dissolved in it. Continue addition of sugar in that, in the same sweet water solution. Okay, what is observed? Sugar get dissolved in that water, but how much sugar can be added in that particular quantity of water? Up to certain stage we can add. One stage is observed. If we stir that solution, that sugar get dissolved, and if we keep if we stop stirring, then sugar crystallizes out from that solution. Is this clear? What did I say? I said that first take a glass of water, add sugar in it, stir the solution well. What is found? Sugar dissolves completely. I said continue adding sugar in that same water solution and stir it well. So again second spoon get dissolved completely, third spoon get dissolved completely, fourth spoon get dissolved completely. But how much now? Enough? Water will say enough. Its capacity to dissolve that sugar is finished now. So at particular stage, it is found that, see, we have taken solvent and we have added solute in it, and these two get mixed together and we get solution. Okay, this we call as dissolution. But one stage is achieved when solution is converted back into solute and solvent. We call it as crystallization. Such state of solution is called as saturated solution. Okay, so three different types of solutions are there depending upon the capacity of solvent. To dissolve solute in it. Three types. One is unsaturated. Second one is saturated. And third one is supersaturated. Okay, in your words. See, in your words means what? When I start lecture, Okay, you were mentally prepared that Miss is going to conduct lecture for particular time. So you are mentally prepared. So you are ready to listen whatever I am saying. So that stage is called as unsaturated state. Okay, you are accepting. Okay, you are listening to me carefully. Means solution is unsaturated. You are ready to hear me. Okay, now saturated solution. Suppose my lecture was for 45 minutes and after that also I continued. Okay, so 1 hour, up to 1 hour I have continued. Still I am continuing. So what comes in your mind when Miss is going to stop the lecture? 1 hour over, still Miss is continuing. Getting? So that state of mind is saturated. Now you are not getting anything whatever I am saying. Is this clear? At that stage. So that is what a saturated state. And then also if I continue, you are not ready to listen me. Means you are saturated now. And still if I continue, then that state is called as supersaturated. I think this is the best example, right? And many of you will say now only you are supersaturated. You are always supersaturated. Well, so this is unsaturated, saturated, supersaturated. Means sugar is allowed to dissolve, unsaturated. Now equilibrium is attained. Means if we dissolve, if we stir the solution, sugar dissolves. If we stop stirring, sugar comes out from water, crystallizes. So that is saturated solution, and it is not ready to pass into solution, that is supersaturated solution. Is this clear? So these are three different types of solution, that is saturated, unsaturated, supersaturated solution. Okay, no question on this. This was just introductory part of this lesson. Now next stage, next point is solubility of the substance. Next point is solubility of the substance. Solubility means what? Ability to dissolve. Okay, or how much amount of the substance is dissolved in a particular volume of the solvent, in the particular volume of a solution is called as solubility of that substance. Now listen to me carefully, very important. Solubility is measured in mole per liter. Solubility is measured in mole per liter. We know mole means number of moles of that solute, and liter is the volume of solution. Which solution? It should be a saturated solution, and temperature should be constant, because mole per liter, temperature volume depends upon temperature. If we increase temperature, volume will increase. If we increase temperature, volume will increase, and volume is increased means this value will get affected due to change in temperature. So solubility will change. Okay, so it is said that at particular temperature. So solubility is amount of substance. It is amount of substance in a liter of saturated solution. In a liter of saturated solution at specific temperature, is called as solubility. Or from this unit we can make out, this is nothing but molarity. So molarity, mole per liter. Amount of substance in a liter, amount of substance in a liter of saturated solution at specific temperature is called as solubility of that substance. Now, what are different factors which affect the solubility? Okay, so three factors are given in our textbook. One is factors affecting. I will continue here. Factors affecting solubility. First factor is nature of solute and solvent. Second one is temperature, and third one is pressure. These are three factors. Nature of solute. The first factor we will discuss now. So nature of nature of solute. See what happens in this nature of solute and solvent. Nature of solute and solvent. Nature of solute and solvent. Okay. For this, the rule is like dissolves like. Like dissolves like. What does it mean? Like dissolves like. Okay. It means that polar substance is soluble in polar solvent. Non-polar substance is soluble in non-polar solvent. In short, inorganic soluble in water, organic substance is soluble in organic solvent. For example, NaCl is added in water. NaCl is polar, it has plus minus charges, Na plus Cl minus, H2O is polar, H plus OH minus, right? So plus minus ions are there. So different interactions are there. What are different interactions are there? Ion interaction is there. Which is that interaction? It is found between Na plus and Cl minus ion. Then ion dipole interaction is there. Ion dipole interaction means what? Na plus and water, they interact with each other. Also another Cl minus and water interaction is there. Cl minus and water interaction is there. And one more is there which we call as dipole-dipole interaction, or it's hydrogen bonding. Water get connected to each other through hydrogen bonding, and because of all this NaCl is soluble in water. So nature of solute and solvent for this rule is like dissolves like. If we take any organic substance, then it is soluble in organic solvent easily. So as per the rule, like dissolves like, solute is soluble in a solvent. Means inorganic solute is soluble in inorganic solvent, or organic solute is soluble in organic solvent. So depending upon nature of solute and solvent, solubility get affected. Okay. Second factor they have given, and that is temperature. Second factor is temperature. How does it affect solubility of a substance? See one experiment. Here we have KNO3. Suppose here we have KNO3 solution, and here we have CaCl2 solution. See, this is water. First of all, this is water. This is also water solution. Okay. Measure its temperature. Say this temperature is found to be T1, just water. Okay. Temperature of water is T1. Here also we have to measure temperature of water is TH2O. Now add KNO3 in it. Add KNO3 in it, or KCl in it. Any substance, KCl or KNO3 in this solution. And then here add CaCl2 solution. Here also we will take KCl. So CaCl2 solution. Again no temperature. So temperature of solution. Here also temperature of solution. What is observed? In this case, temperature of water is found to be greater than temperature of solution. And in this case, temperature of solution is found to be greater than temperature of water. Means this dissolution is endothermic and this dissolution is exothermic. It means when KCl is dissolved in water, heat is absorbed. KCl requires heat for its dissolution, and we are not heating this container, means KCl absorbs heat from water itself. So temperature of water decreases. Temperature of water, that solution, is less than temperature of water. When only water was there, it was at higher temperature, and when we have taken their solution, then its temperature is less than the previous case, water. In this case, CaCl2 when dissolves in water, heat is released, energy is given out, energy is released, energy is given out. and therefore temperature increases. So it is exothermic reaction. So to dissolve more and more CaCl2, we have to start with cold water. We know that exothermic reaction is spontaneous at low temperature. So to dissolve more and more CaCl2, temperature should be low. And to dissolve more and more KCl, temperature should be higher. So for dissolution of a substance in water, which is endothermic process, temperature should be higher. And if exothermic process is there, means heat is released by dissolving that salt into water, then temperature should be lower. Temperature should be lower. Okay. So this is effect of temperature. Next factor is pressure. So first factor, nature of solute and solvent. Second factor is temperature. And third factor is pressure. That is the reason why, see, one give reason type question is asked, that marine life is found at the depth of the sea, not at the surface. The reason is temperature at the top is higher. Temperature is higher. And temperature at the bottom of the sea is lower. So lower the temperature is lower, means dissolution of gas in that substance, in that solvent is higher. So O2 is more soluble here than this top surface. So temperature affects the solubility of a substance in water. Okay. Next one that is pressure. So pressure, how can it affect the solubility of the substance? If solute is solid or liquid, it is not affected much by pressure because they are incompressible. But solubility of gas is affected due to pressure. Solubility of gas is affected due to pressure. Means what? Higher the pressure on the gas, more is its solubility. Pressure. Third factor we are discussing, that is pressure. Okay. See, this is one container. Here there is one piston. Pressure is applied on it. Gas is filled in this container and some water is also there. If we increase pressure on it, solubility of the gas in the solution will increase. Clear? So higher is the pressure on the gas, more is its solubility in the given solvent. So higher the pressure, higher is the solubility of gas. Higher is the solubility of a gas. Okay. Your cold drink bottle. Okay. Before sealing that bottle, what is made? Water and CO2 mixed together are used to pressurize that cold drink bottle, so that CO2 remains in the dissolved state and then it is sealed. So when we open that seal, excess CO2 comes out in the form of effervescence. Is this clear? So higher the pressure, more is the solubility of the gas. So this is explained by a scientist known as Henry, which is called as Henry's law. Henry's law. What is the statement of this Henry's law? So solubility of gas is directly proportional to pressure over that gas. Solubility of a gas is directly proportional to. Solubility of a gas is directly proportional to. See the statement given here. Solubility of a gas in a liquid is directly proportional to the pressure of the gas over the solution. Pressure of the gas over the solution. Okay. So S is proportional to P. So removes its proportionality sign. So S is equal to KH into P, where this KH is called as Henry's constant. KH is called as Henry's constant. What is the unit of S? S is the solubility. So its unit is mole per liter. And pressure is expressed in bar. So this is mole per liter. KH unit we don't have, and pressure is expressed in bar. So what is the unit of KH? KH is called as mole per liter per bar. This is unit of KH. And if we put P is equal to 1 bar, if we put P is equal to 1 bar, then this equation becomes S is equal to KH. Equation becomes S is equal to KH. So we can say Henry's constant is the solubility of a gas in a solution when pressure over it is 1 bar. Clear? Definition of Henry's constant. What is it? Henry's constant is the solubility of the gas. Henry's constant is the solubility of the gas when pressure on it is 1 bar. Okay. So very important statement. Solubility of a gas in a liquid is directly proportional to the pressure over that gas. Unit of solubility is mole per liter. Unit of KH is mole per liter per bar. Mole per liter per bar. Okay. Here they have given one exception. Exception to Henry's law. What is the exception to Henry's law? Means this law is not applicable for those gases which react with water, like NH3. NH3, if we dissolve in water, it becomes NH4NO3. So NH4OH or CO2, when dissolved in water, it forms H2CO3, carbonic acid. So pressure applied on that gas does not affect solubility of that gas in water. This is the exception of this Henry's law. So they have given the heading as exception to Henry's law. Gases like ammonia and CO2 do not obey the law. Reason, they have higher solubilities than expected. So they react with water and therefore they have higher solubility. So on their own they enter into water, not necessary to apply pressure on it. Okay. So here we have completed introductory part. Some numericals are there based on this Henry's law. We will discuss in the next lecture and we'll continue with the next point. Okay.